Hello viewers and welcome back to The Last Federation with me, Choo. So, it's been a little bit of time since I've played this, although after doing, I think, part 5 or 6, whichever one's the whichever one this one continues off of, I played the game for like one or two battles more, and it opened up a tutorial a little bit more. So we're gonna take a look at this message, and inside this episode, I think we're going to have to shift our strategy for forming this alliance just due to the fact that this alliance message, this alliance little tutorial, is going to send us off in a different direction. So yeah, the game is opened up now. I mean, we can form a federation at last, and it gives us the information that some of the other races are easier to sort of put into this federation than other ones. Namely, it mentions the Peltians, the Ondors, and the Skylaxians here. One of the things about that is, on the other hand, some of the races inside the game will be harder to form an alliance with or a federation with, and I believe one of the hardest ones to do would actually be the Burlust people we are trying to convince right now. So yeah, unfortunately that is that. These guys also have the chance of betraying us as well, so that is sort of that. Namely, I found out with the Brillas, you can convince them either two ways, or at least two ways right now in my current game here. You can either convince them to form a triple alliance with, well, technically it'd be like a quadruple alliance with you, the Actulians, and another race, but obviously we're kind of on bad relations with the Actulians, to say the least, so that's not exactly the best option. I mean, I could go over there and heal our relations with them, but I really don't feel like doing that. It's just sort of counterproductive to the plot, the game's generated plot here. I mean, we could, and in the advanced game start menu, we could set it so that we crash onto another race's homeworld, and we sort of go from there instead. But for this Let's Play, I think we'll continue with this theme of the Actulians being the people that we just harass indefinitely. So, yeah, it'll also tell us that some other alliances can start forming, especially due to the fact that once a federation is formed, there can be a special little sort of Civil War-esque alliance, the Anti-Federation Alliance, may form, but in general, excuse me, enemy hostile alliances may form, and once they form, the only way to pretty much get rid of them is to destroy them. So, I mean, the game really gives you a lot of different options here. I feel like the first time you really play through this, you just, are sort of learning the things. But once you sort of know what options are present on the map and what is what, then I think you'll have a whole bunch of different opportunities here. I mean, so just speculating off here, I'm under the impression that you can do a real, like, war pact type of thing with the Actulians, the Burlusts, and I think the Thoraxians over here. And namely, going off of this menu, this is the victory progress menu. It'll show us our options to make alliances and the option to just sort of do things in general. One odd thing is that currently there's only technically three options for forming a federation right now. We can make a federation with practically all of the other races, except, actually all of the races, with the Actulians, but again, I mean, we have really bad relations with them. Alternatively, I mean, I did mention that we could make a triple entente, which is just sort of making this, like, strong federation with the Burlusts, the Thoraxians, and the Acutians, through this create a strong federation type of thing. The other one that we could do is, it gives us the option to pressure the Burlust people to join our federation, and this one's kind of weird because it already requires you to have a established federation, and you'll need to have it gives you a value for how many military points that you need. Let me see if whether or not I can find it. But if we pressure them into joining an alliance, first and foremost, it costs just an absolute ton of leverage. But for another thing is that we'll need to have 20 times the amount of military power that these guys have, and they'll just sort of, be contempt at our military strength and just join us. So there's sort of that. Going from here, the game does simulate the relations between all of the different races, and the thing about it is that currently, when the Brillusts actually dislike the Thoraxians and the Acutians, and I believe we need both of those races to like these guys. However, the Acutians don't need to like the Thoraxians to form that strong alliance. Well, I mean, it's still fairly early inside the game, so we can just sort of go wherever we'd like. Still, I'm gonna grab a sip of water here. And the other thing is that you may have noticed that the little star base that we have here, the Actualian manufacturing outpost, has finally has those goons deployed over here. I think a game patch introduced these little icons over here, which shows how many defense things you have. In our case, it'd be goons and just defense power, and in the other people's case, it'd be armadas and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of that's sort of that. And with that sort of said, we will have to figure out where we're gonna go with this whole alliance thing. Namely, I figured we might as well take a little bit of time to check out these races and to delve into them a little bit more. I think I previewed these guys, the Ondors and the Peltians so far, but if in the event we haven't, let's check them out. So the Ondors are, these guys are a group of, let me see if I can get the little info panel to pop on. These guys are a society of robots, and they're fairly peaceful, they're benevolent, though the problem with them is that they're fairly easy to get to join into this alliance with us, but they won't attack other planets and take them over. Us being only one ship, it'd be very useful if our alliances, the races inside our alliances can attack planets, and these guys, we just can't get them to do that, so that is a little bit of a problem. Over here we have the Peltians, and they are a race of these, they look like little birds or something going off of this icon, but they're a race of communist Argarians. They resemble barn owls. They're very easy to convince, but they're not very good at combat, so that is one problem with them. We actually have a computer advisor right here, which will advise us on a few options. Namely, it suggests us getting the Evacs, the Burlusts, and Skylaxians to form an alliance with us, or get into a federation with us. So with this one, I mean, getting the Burlust people is it's pretty difficult, as we've already established. They're also the top power inside the galaxy right now. We can nab a few techs that we don't have right now. We can go and raid it from these people if we choose to. The Evox, I've tried to convince them on my test game. They have a really great planet, evidently because of the rank 1 thing. They have a decent amount of technology and they have a decent science rating, so they're fairly useful, but I believe the Skylaxians beat them on the whole science thing. However, their planet is not that great. So, what I think I'll do is that I'll go for the Skylaxians, mainly because they seem like the better choice out of the two. Namely, with the Evox, they're quiet and steady as people. They're one of some of the most advanced beings inside the solar system, or inside this solar system, but unfortunately they're quite immoral. Maybe that's a good thing, actually, inside this universe. Though I recall convincing these guys is quite difficult, so we'll see how well these Skylaxians play out. So we'll go over here, and we'll do a friendly act, and we'll deliver them spacefaring tech, which will give us a ton of influence on them. It'll lower our influence with the Actualians and the Burlusts, but you know what? I'm actually not very troubled by that, because it'll still get us into the liked section by the Burlusts, and the Actualians will pretty much detest us no matter what at this point. So we'll make another one of these tech drop missions, and for whatever reason, again, I mean, we have to deliver this the tech through like a minefield of crap. So I'll get our ship powered up, and I have that afterburner ability, remember? So I'm gonna put that on. I think I only had to slip in there, so I'll put maximum energy to shields, and I think once we reach that zone, the mission is pretty much done. Yeah, just like that. So the afterburner tech has really helped us out there. Come to think of it, we just ran out of shields as well, so that's a nice little mission. And that
The Skylaxians are now spacefaring.
Oh, perfect.
They are an advanced species and disapprove of your race's past actions. However, they may just be the key to forming a federation, as their powers of persuasion over the other races are non-trivial.
Well, it looks like they've introduced the voice acting into the game. I'm playing on the full release version now, so I'll just tone that down a little bit because it is fairly loud. So yeah, we started off with them. We have liked ratings with them now, so that is good. And it looks like they actually have a pretty strong fleet inside the game already. So, I mean, that's good. Come to think of it, actually, they might be... yeah, they might be the most effective race here now, so we'll try to boost them up here. And we'll try to help them out a little bit. So, it looks like they use a Senate system. Let's try to meet with their little... Oh, they're like the little gray alien people. Let's see how their Senate system works, because each and every single one of them have a different little thing. Alright, so let's see. So we have some influence with them. They're neutral with every other race right now. Looks like they have a 40-member Senate party. It looks like we can... Yeah, it looks like they don't necessarily use individual characters, but we can influence their policies on some of the ones that we care about. It looks like they host a few elections, so namely whenever these elections end, I assume that some new senators come forth, and they may have different policies than what we want. So we can gift a few of these objects to them again. That'll help us convince them, those objects. Looks like we can... Yeah, it looks like we can convince them to join a federation fairly easily, so long as we have another race that is welcoming. We have a true trade deals with them. We can ask them to share trade or share tech with a different race for some cash. Do some military deals. We can ask them to yeah, we can ask them to destroy a pirate base, but it's going to cost them some military power and some credit for us. And of course, we have a set of generic planetary actions that we can do. We can ask them to do certain things like, you know, huge tax breaks, where say induce some industrialization, which will be kind of important. Oh, and we can also do a senatorial recall, so that's fairly interesting. But we've boosted these guys up. I'm going to see what we can do for some friendly acts with them. Mainly because, I mean, I don't want to boost another nation or another group of people into the spacefaring category just yet, because I'm under the impression that it's, for intents and purposes, I mean, it's only supposed to be used once or twice. So that's sort of that. Actually, we're being offered a mission here by some people. Let me just pull up that. We already saw this message. Or no, that just tells us that we completed that mission, alright. Because I'm under the impression that, yeah, delivering that tech isn't exactly optimal, and these guys will be spacefaring in 6 minutes. So, let's stay over here with the Skylaxians. And let's talk to them for a little bit, and let's help them research some tech for us, maybe. We'll research wireless communications, which will make public order trends smaller, and I think that's more or less just a universally useful tech, so that'll be good. And that'll spend 10 solar months, so 3 minutes and 20 seconds of our relative time, and that'll generate us some credits and some influence, so that'll give us a copy of that tech and them a copy of that tech. And yeah, of course we can speed this up too, so 2 times the speed, and that'll just sort of run it. Looks like we also have another thing, detailed planet stats. This is one that I haven't seen before. So it looks like inside the detailed planet stats, we can see a little bit of stuff about the population growth, the stuff about some troops there, space junk buildup, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It looks like there's some resource stuff inside the bottom panel here. I'm under the impression that that message didn't play out fully, or maybe it did. Okay, fair enough. I mean, we've already had this feature for quite a little bit of time, but let's just check it out. So yeah, on these planets, it'll give us a notification history of what has happened on this planet. It'll also give us a local event log. I'm not really sure what the difference between the two is, but I mean, that's sort of that. It'll list what the planet is, what type of planet it is, and some good stuff about them. Looks like their economy is really rather bad here, and I suppose it stems off of the fact that this is an ice dwarf planet. Namely, that also affects their compatibility, and it looks like they're decently compatible at their planet, but it's not great. These guys don't have very good environmental stuff, so I mean that's no big problem. It actually gives you a breakdown of land area and population and and like civilians and children and stuff like that. So I mean that's pretty good. What else? Oh, and perfectly, it gives you like the budget constraints here, and they're building a university too, so that's kind of neat. Alright. So yeah, looks like we get to read all about what they're building there. Looks like there's 2 texts that we can sort of nab from people. That might be pretty useful. So I think I'll help these guys out a little bit more, mainly due to the fact that we need to wait until another race is boosted up to space status before we can do anything. So we'll get the game to just sort of do its thing here, and we'll just wait for a little bit of time. This will allow us to research some stuff inside the background. It'll net us a little bit of cash here. And it looks like the Actulians have a little raiding party just sort of bouncing back and forth here. Ooh, an enemy armada is actually attacking my little outpost here. They have 6 strength, and we have 24. Oh, they're actually dropping some more ships here. I'm probably going to have to go over there, so this will stop that economic growth thing, or that little thing that we were generating over there. And we are going to have to get over here to stop these guys. So we'll aid out this outpost in destroying these guys. And it looks like the Hydrals are building another outpost, so maybe we can nab another one really easily. So yeah, the goons are meant to just sort of stall up the enemy till we can get here and destroy whatever enemy ships are attacking. I'm under the impression with them is that they actually don't duel it out with these guys in the sense that they actually do fighting and stuff like that. They more or less just expand the time that you have to react. So I'm gonna come over here, launch fighters, because this might be a fairly long battle depending on how things go. And let's see, spread shot does by far the most damage, so we'll just open up with that. And the nice thing about it is that I believe it goes through shields, or it does damage to the hull of the ships as well, pretty effectively. And yeah, it looks like it's just an overall good weapon, this spread shot gun, assuming that we can get close enough to hit them well. So we'll just sort of fly right next to this guy and destroy them like that. Rescue a few pilots, which we can return to them, or alternatively, sell. Really liking the spread gun, it's just so effective at grinding these guys down. And it looks like our shields are down, so I'll do the divert power to shields action. And there we go. So yeah, we destroyed their ships. It's taken 17 turns. It'll lower their relations a little bit, and it'll give us a little bit of credit here. So that's sort of that. Now, going from here, we still control this manufacturing post. And these guys, let's check out what is happening on their little ice planet here. So it looks like their economy is slightly fixed down. Have decent... those guys they have mediocre stats in just pretty much everything. Come to think of it, I think, yeah, only the Actulians have any great sort of little modifier for their bases. A lot of people have researched some tech, so that's good. That's kind of nice to know. And coming from here, we have a lot of money too at this point. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll actually go to the Actulian homeworld and let's learn a little bit about their leaders. So, yeah, it was the Actulians who delivered the final blow to your race. Their ruthless carriers flew over how they handle politics, and their leaders, the CEOs, are extremely well guarded and they can't be assassinated, but we can make them fall by sabotaging their industry. So that's kind of interesting. So let's see how their politics work. Evidently, I mean, they don't like us very well. Looks like we have a few different things we can do with them. So they don't really have politics. Out of the 17 industries that they organize themselves into, 3 of them are the most powerful in each